All right. This time we have a trade running, so that's different. How you guys doing? I hope your weekend was good. We're back again on the grind. Right, and I'm currently at 2:14 a.m. This is a normal for me. I'm always up until 4 5, and I also like to engage the Asia session if something turns up. To give you a cheat code if you're watching this, right? Watch out for 2 a.m. Nigerian time or 21 o'clock EST, right? That's the macro for this actual pair. You're gonna see, movements happen, in this time where it's 2 a.m. here. So this is 2 a.m. somewhere inside of here, run on buy side, price runs lower, and then leads into so that 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. is where I'm really looking for something to happen in the Asia session. And I was watching this out. I had two levels marked out. I had this OB down here and then this OB down here. Like my protocol already, run on sell side liquidity, breaking market structure, and return back into the discount. You might ask, why are you buying here? It's because that level has been past support and resistance. If I want to borrow that, what do I mean? Down close candle before the run on buy side liquidity, breaking market structure, breaker fails to take out this low and then expands. So cutting through candles, that level is still, a place where orders had been piled and can be used for distribution. We have an extra confluence to that, this order block, right? So old highs, order block, breaker, good level to be buying, and it comes right in clutch with time. This is where timing is very important, where the timing aligns with a level you are thinking about. So if this was 1 o'clock when we were playing around this level, I probably would not pay attention to it. And if we're going down into this level, going into 2 o'clock, I would love this as an entry. So that's really just what this is about. I'm currently looking at the 1 to 4 here today, right? This is my third trade of the week. I took some trades this morning, right, that did beautifully well. I was able to buy this fair value gap in London session, 350. And I was only just expecting this high. My stop loss was covering that fair value gap. It was a 1 to 3 trade, which I shared with the community also. I also shared this one. I was trying to buy this order block, seeking, runs to these highs, right? I've talked about, my stance on this asset class, which is bullish, and I'll explain a little bit more of that, which is why I'm looking for buy side plays, right? So I have, kind of like an idea of what I think price would do. And even though there's not a high probability trust on that, bias, I am still using it to get, little chunks out of price. What do I mean? I'm getting, this type of plays, a 1 to 4, a 1 to 3, right? Short them, right? Kind of like just scalping obvious levels of liquidity without aiming for anything drastic, right? This is somewhere around 230 pips or so, 230 points, and that's good. So that's kind of like what I am doing with this pair and what I'll be doing, as I said in the outlook this morning. So yeah, let's kind of like look at it on the grand scheme of things. Back to daily time frame. Why am I thinking buy side? Why am I thinking bullishness? Right. So the first thing is we're at the discount level, right? So it just makes sense to be buying, as the core principle of all markets is that at discount levels, right, it's cheap enough to put in positions for buys, right? That's the first thing to think about, right? Another reason why I think we can still have a little bit of buy side, like I said, it's not anything long time. All right. I don't have a long-term bias that is of surety right now. Right. The other reason why I want to see buy side is if you look at the fundamental data that we've had back to back has been pointing, the DXY lower. Right. And I'll talk about that briefly. Has been pointing the DXY lower. And now coming to the DXY, this is how I'm reading the DXY. The last range formed, we've just been hanging in premium here, but even here in premium, every time we've seen price rally higher, it's been sent down. Every time we've seen price rally higher, it's been sent down. Right. So I'm expecting that we have, all of that at least into this fair value gap. So as you can see, I'm taking it step by step, right? We have run back into discounts, completing this range before we start to go higher, if we need to go higher again. So my draw for the week is that we return back into this fair value gap, right? And, you know, some of the reasons why it's a little bit tricky is we still have the Strait of Hormuz thing going on, even though the US wants to kind of like stop the war. All right, there is still, problems in the Strait of Hormuz. We saw three officers from the Army of the US got dead, from today's news. So that means, there's still warlike activity. And in warlike activity, what I'm going to see, especially with what we've been seeing all year, it's that oil rises and yield follows up on that. And if yield rises, that would mean the dollar also follows up on that. All right. So that kind of like puts me in a frenzy. If that is happening, the dollar then becomes bullish and gold would start to fall, which is why I said my gold positions are short term. Right. Meanwhile, looking at it technically, I just talked fundamentally right now. Looking at it technically, we have a bearish order block here, right, on the daily time frame. And this OB that we're currently at kind of decides the fate of this asset class. If we start to see a fall from this, if we see price form a swing high here, then we could probably see a little bit of downside for the yield markets, which would mean that the Feds, right, could be looking to cut rates, and the dollar response to that is sell side. So, like I said, my dollar sell side is just a little bit of one more run before we start to go higher if we need to. And in that light, I would be taking, little stabs on gold buys, right? Maybe until the story changes, right? This trend line is just too good to ignore if you agree with me. Let me see if I can show you here. Right, this one here. Look at how it's just, so smooth. Right. So not even all that. I just want a little bit of this. I want a little bit of this. And tomorrow I'll figure out how I get into the rest of it. So that's how I'm really thinking about, this week. And I'm trying to be as transparent as possible with you. But so yeah, that's on gold, right? If we look at what that would mean for EU, GU, right? We saw, I was talking to the guys today, right, that if GU breaks this high, I would, be full on bearish, and any run to downside, I would be buying. Now, GU did not break that high, but it formed equal highs coming down to take out sell side liquidity inside of this mitigation block. Let me show you what that level looks like on the 4 hour. It is a bullish order block. So I like this level to lead on to buy side. I've not found the trade, but I think I'll be looking for one tomorrow buy side. So don't be surprised if I come here to say, oh, if GU expanded and I was buying, I'll probably be in it if GU expands. And I'll probably take a loss if it expands lower. So don't get your hopes too high. But this is exactly what I'm looking for, that we have continuous buy side until it's time for DXY to start to go higher. That would also mean the same for EU. All right, that we have, a bounce. EU is a lot more tricky. I don't want to talk about it so much. It's been in a consolidation and I don't trade it. So let's just skip it. All right, but again, buy side, maybe we still have one more run higher. EU really looks bearish, right? We've gotten into that weekly fair value gap. I said I would not talk about it, but I'm here. We've gotten into that weekly fair value gap, but let's see. Let's see what happens. So again, that's what I'm watching. One other pair I'm watching, because I want to come back to it, is the the Nasdaq market. And for the Nasdaq market, I have levels that I want to see price, return back to. I'm watching this, but I don't think I'll be able to get into this. I think we might still have one more run. I would like to maybe be selling from this level. Let me just delete it right now, because the time frame from where we are to here is not what I want to say. I'm looking at tomorrow at AM session that we actually get to these levels. So I'll be looking at this order block, this one here, right, on the 1 hour, this 1 hour order block, getting inside of there. We have mitigation blocks there. So, it's an area of resistance where we can see price start to trickle lower. And, again, these are the pairs I'm watching. And, just as we go through the week, I would revert to this. If you are enjoying, this series, I would like to know, right? Let me know in the comments. Put a thumbs up on the video. It really means a lot. It kind of grows our small channel. Very soon we'll start to do greater things. But for right now, this raw and unfiltered reviews would keep going. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, and safe and profitable trade. Bless up.